This is the 2021 Brewtubers Online Brewers Club Yeast Experiment number 2, Saison. Thank you to our sponsors, Imperial Yeast, 5 Star Chemicals, Beer and Wine Hobby Homebrew Supply Store, Brewing America, all stainless steel mash paddle sponsors. Also Hopsteiner and Yakima Chief Hops. Get brewing.
Hey guys, so this is the Saison experiment. So we are doing 3 separate yeast experiments. The Dropkick Nate, it was a Kvike experiment. This is Saison, and then the Belgian Double, that is number 3. So this is number 2, so it's my first review. I decided to go with the president, Gary, main brew guy, Tapout Brewing. This is actually his experiment, so I thought I'd go with his. Everybody's been giving him a hard time about the way he says Saison, so Saison. So a little bit of a French accent there, and I don't know about me. I'm a little country, so I don't know if it's a French country accent. So give you a little bit of information on Gary's. He used the French Saison. It is WLP 590. I'll give you a little bit of information on that here in a second. Handcrafted, Naples, Florida, Tapout Brewing. Can date of May 24th, 2021. This beer is part of the Brewtubers 2021 yeast experiment, Hub 2. This version was fermented with WLP 590 from White Labs. It was pitched and fermented at 75F, then ramped to 78. Brewed on the 10th of April, fermented for 14 days, kegged on the 29th of April, carbonated to 10 psi, and then, as I said, canned on the 24th of May. So again, we have the same shared document. Thank you, Nate, for putting that together. I was actually the hub, and Nate was nice enough to let me steal his document and use all the information from that, and then just pass it on to the guys that are in this experiment. Not everybody that was in the first hub has decided to go on to this. At the very beginning, most of us had decided to do 1 or 2 of them. Some people have decided, actually, because there was room, to jump in on all 3. I did not have time to brew the Belgian Double, so I am not in that 3rd one. So give you a little bit of information about it. Again, this is WLP 590 from White Labs. From their website, their basic information about this yeast is attenuation is 78 to 85%, with medium flocculation, I can't talk tonight, sorry about that. Medium alcohol tolerance. Fermentation temperature is 68 to 85 Fahrenheit or 20 to 30 Celsius. In terms of the information, it's one of our most popular strains. Great farmhouse style because it produces flavors of aromas of pear, apple, and cracked pepper. Strain is high attenuator, producing a very dry and drinkable finished beer. So a little bit about what Gary had here. 1 package, no starter, 5.5 gallons. I gave you the dates already. He goes on a 2-tier 3-vessel Herm system. 150 was his mash temperature, 5.3 pH, 1058 pre-boil, 1066 post, so that was his OG. I already told you about the fermentation temperatures. He gave you that on there. 4.4 was his final pH, and then a final of 1009, so fairly low. So figure to get into this. Saisons are one of not a beer I brew a lot, but I enjoy them. When I go out to a different brewery, if they have a Saison on tap, I'll try it. So I was excited about this experiment. The Kvikes I was excited about. The Double I would have been interested in as well. I'm not a huge Belgian fan, so this is kind of a center of the road for me. You get into the real Belgians, your quads and triples and all that type of stuff. It's a little too much for me, just not my style, but not it means it's a bad beer, but I like the farmhouse of Saison. So all right, we'll get a nice crack on this. Got a little foam coming over the top. It looks like a very clear beer. Lots of carbonation here. I probably poured this a little too aggressively, so that's not a fault on Gary. This is probably me pouring it a little too aggressively coming out. I just brought them inside from out in my fridge out in the garage. So, all right. So I'll tell you what. Let me wait for this to die down. Again, this is not a issue with Gary. This is me. I probably was shaking them. I brought all of them I had in from the hub. I had them out in the fridge out there, so I decided to stack them all up, bring them inside, and it's probably me bringing them in. It's definitely highly carbonated. You can see there, but this is not his fault, so I don't want to knock him on that. So let me hit pause here for a second. We'll let this die down a little bit. We'll pour a little bit more in, and then we'll get in there for the nose and do a review of it. All right, we'll be right back. All right, so we got a proper pour on that. Again, my apologies, Gary. That's my fault. Should have let him settle down. I was wanted to get a couple of reviews in here. I'm actually going away on vacation tomorrow, so wanted to get a couple of reviews in, and I was bringing the beers in and probably shook them. So I apologize. Now we got a good pour on this, and everything's in. So that's a 12-ounce can he has. So we figure probably a pretty good 2-head on the carbonation there on the head. Real nice carbonation. You can still see the bubbles. Let's see, get it turned there. You can still see the bubbles streaming up really well from the bottom. Kind of a nice copper color. I don't know if that's good lighting. Maybe that's the best lighting right there. Probably a copper, maybe a touch lighter, a little more on the yellow side from copper. Clarity wise, I think I did say on my original video that I did where I did the whole brew day and then tasted it. I think I said we did not use Whirl Flock, and we did use Whirl Flock. So, but it does not have gelatin in it, so it does not. It's not brilliantly clear, but pretty clear. As clear as you're probably going to get on a homebrew scale without filtering and without using gelatin. So, all right, head's definitely sticking around, down to probably a finger now. So, get a nose on it. About what I normally think about when I think about Saison. This is a little bit stronger on there. I may be able to pick up a little bit of that cracked pepper. Maybe a touch of pear. Pear's not something I can pick up real well. But you can tell it's a Saison. You know, if you're used to drinking Saisons, that's kind of the nose that you would expect out of it. That farmhouse type of brewing, that's the nose. It's not punch you in the face. It's definitely there. So very clean. I don't get any off flavors, or I shouldn't say off flavors, off pudding types of medicinal or anything like that. That's everything you expect to get out of a Saison type of nose is there. So, all right, let's launch it, guys. Oh, that's good beer. I like that. I think I like that better than mine. I don't know that I've ever used the White Labs 590, the French Saison. I'm not sure. I think I probably, if I remember correctly, I think this is one that I've heard people talk about that has problems with stalls and if you don't ramp it correctly and head pressure and stuff like that. So I think I've been scared of trying that one in the past. Pretty dry on the palate, drops off your palate pretty fast. I don't know that I would say that I could get a lot of cracked pepper. There might be a little bit there, but it doesn't follow through. I get more on the nose, but doesn't follow through as much on the flavor on that. If I was searching for it, maybe a touch of pear in there. Nice dry beer though, very drinkable. I think this is an excellent beer. Really happy with that. So that's a great drinker. A great job, Gary. I believe he said this is a recipe he's been working on for many years. So he was willing to put this forward. So thank you very much, Gary, for putting the recipe in. This is definitely a recipe that I'll play around with again. Interested to see how all these yeast react. I think the Saisons are definitely, as much as the Kveiks were kind of a curveball. You don't know what's going to happen with them. The Saisons are very similar. They can be touchy, and they can be real finicky on your fermentation chambers and how you ferment it, how hot. I've had people, I've listened to podcasts where people talked about no water in the airlock for the first 24 to 48 hours, and then putting water, star sand into the airlock so you don't create that back pressure that they're that finicky. So I've tried it a couple of different ways and haven't had problems with stalls yet, but I've heard of a bunch of people having issues with it. So really good beer. Thank you very much, Gary. Appreciate it. If you guys haven't checked them out, we're getting a bunch of the DKN reviews that are pumping out, so we'll be popping those out on Twitter. I'm going to try to get a couple of these out here and get these posted here before the 4th of July. And then I'm out of town for about a week for vacation, and then I will try to finish up the rest of the guys that are in it. So hope everybody has a great 4th, and I will talk to you guys soon. So, launch, you guys.